Return of the Jedi is the only Star Wars movie where the hero almost becomes the villain and wins because he doesn't.
Live from Crawford Studios.
What's good?
Yeah, what's going?
I love this shit, bro.
So we are doing episode 6, Return of the Jedi. This is going to be our Star Wars rewatch marathon or series, I guess you would say.
Right.
So this is going to be part 3. And the next one we will be doing will be going to the prequels, starting with Phantom Menace. So
Right.
this one is Return of the Jedi. So, this movie, we're going to try to go scene by scene with this movie as best as we can, right? They're broken up pretty much into 3 acts, right? So act 1, you would say, is like, Jabba the Hutt, the Sarlacc scene, right? So this movie, I think, is this is like where, the droids are out in the desert.
Right. That's when C-3PO and R2-D2 are walking to come into Jabba the Hutt's lair, right? And they get in and they're trying to negotiate. For
they send a
Luke
video,
Skywalker,
right? These are my droids.
These are my droids. Yes, you may have them, and and we want Han Solo back, and yada yada. And then that's when I was like, "Well, he won't go with no."
Yeah, now he's got the droids as servants.
Yeah. And now he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna keep the droids," and
which, of course,
but he knows that. But Luke knows that already.
Jabba the Hutt's like literally the most criminal. He's like literally the most mob boss of the galaxy, not of a city, of literally of the galaxy. This guy
him
is
and his family.
His family comes from a whole crime syndicate. But he's the most notorious one, right?
Right.
I think a bunch of droids. Of course, he's just gonna keep them.
Gonna keep the droids, and then you had
Luke knows this,
right? And Luke knew it. So giving it a shot.
So then Landau comes in, right?
Wait, no, he was there already.
He was there already.
He was already there.
So it was
and Leia.
Right. Leia comes in, right?
She was already there because he had already captured her, and she was
sneaks in, right?
Right.
Now she's trying to get him out.
Right.
So
and then she got busted.
Right. And then she gets busted.
Yeah.
Nothing's working out.
Yeah.
Right. So she gets busted. Right.
Yeah.
So now
the coolest, sexiest outfit.
Thing was just nuts.
Yeah. And she's like, hey, every time he would turn around and she would say something, he would pull on her and choke her a little bit, whatever. That shit was fucking
it's so raw.
Hilarious, bro. Yeah, but Lando, like we said, was already there. Right. Because he was undercover. And
so was she, but she got busted.
She came in after because like he said, she's the bounty.
So after all,
she was just hanging around.
Right.
So after all that, then Luke has to get there anyway. So
he had to. Right. Yeah. She almost did it too, bro. She almost got it because she was there.
And let's not forget that he's down there in the dungeon pit.
Right.
And he ends up killing the creature. And then you see his trainer come out
crying like he lost his dog, his pet dog or something. Yeah, so,
exactly. But so this movie, I swear, it
was crazy. It was off the hook.
Jabba the Hutt, man.
But when they get to the part where they're out in the desert already by that time, it's almost like as if he knew it was going to happen out that way anyway. Like, well, R2 was at the right place to shoot the lightsaber into the sky. He gets it, right? Leia does whatever, if I'm getting that correct.
Not yet. You moved too fast. Because, I'm sorry. Did you said when they went to the desert? Because they didn't do it in the desert. Yeah, because when Luke came in, you're right. He said whatever, and it was a Rancor.
And then she shot the
Rancor. That's what. Shot it up in the air, and he did
he did a whole back.
He came off the plane.
And the Rancors are kind of interesting creatures. They're actually from Dathomir, which is the planet that is Darth Maul's from.
Right.
From the prequel.
Right.
And the Dathomir, which is, if you really want to get into the expanded universe of Star Wars. But it's like this planet that's like witches are from. And
right.
So no surprise.
Rocks and shit.
That a Rancor is from Dathomir.
Yeah.
You can picture them out there just chilling. Yeah. So he's got that whole, so Jabba the Hutt's world, he's got that whole crime lord energy, that his whole palace, it's interesting, right? His whole palace is all set up weird. He's got all these he's entertainment going 24/7 on his palace. It's like a big party basically.
And he falls asleep.
7
And he chills. Yeah. He's there. He's passed out and shit, laid out, and everybody else is doing whatever they're doing. And having
he's probably high on spice.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's what he was always trying to smuggle.
That's what his thing was.
That's right. So the spice.
He was dipping into his own stash.
The Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, yeah.
That was his thing. That was the drug. So he would get the spice. And they had, matter of fact, a few episodes, sidebar, kind of, but still Star Wars, in the Bad Batch. that was a few times that they were trying to get, that they had come across Jabba or just other criminal families trying to get the spice. Because the spice was what they used to get high and shit. Yeah, fucking crazy.
So then you finally get Luke's arrival, right?
Right. Yep.
So like he goes and now this is the difference between this movie. When he comes in, he's got full Jedi vibes.
Yeah.
There is no like in the first two movies. Well, the first definitely not the first.
Right.
He was still kind of farm boy and trying
Empire Strikes Back. I mean,
even Empire Strikes Back. He's still trying to figure himself out. Like when he goes in there, you can see he's confident.
Yeah. Now he's like, now I know how to do this shit.
Yeah.
He
is not
ready
around.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you're right.
He has the full. He feels the
Yeah.
force.
Yes.
In one.
He
is one with the force.
And it's interesting because he's calm, but he kind of does look dark, right? Because he's got the black on, which is like which is not like typical Jedi.
Well, that's what the whole idea was, because he was still trying to figure out light, dark.
He was doing
right, because he still was unsure because of he still had his anger. He wasn't surrounded anymore by everybody telling him what to do so much. You know what I'm saying? Like Obi-Wan was like, hey, this is what you got to do. You're the one. That kind of shit.
You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say
started
without the evil part. It's a hot take. He's kind of acting like Vader a little bit. With the way he's carries himself. Not no. Like he's gonna go start forcing.
Yeah, no. But he was
like the way he carried himself.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna have to agree with that, bro.
He's like
he did, because he came in like
kind of dark.
Yeah. No, that's true. And then we said, then they catch him. They send him down to the Rancor.
Yeah,
he fights it.
Yeah, he fucks
wins. Good. Now they say,
trainer cries.
Then Jabba's like, yeah, we're taking him out. They cuff him. Yep. And that's when they take everybody out to the desert on that thing. And that's when he went bananas, out there.
Also, sidebar. Not to get ahead, but since we are doing the rewatch, we assume anyone else might be listening as a rewatch. But if you watch the Boba Fett series, you get to see how close the Rancor trainer really is to the Rancors, and how you see they're
family for them.
They're like, but the thing is like they're actually friendly when they're bonded.
Right.
They're not like vicious. They're like super, So it's interesting. That's why you kind of see why the trainers cries like that. Like they're so like devastated and crying, because you're like, that's kind of such a funny scene.
Yeah.
But then it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
that's his pet.
Different culture.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's his pet. He trained them.
Yeah. They have a bond.
But they do. This is their heritage. They
kind of like like losing a pet, like the same kind of. So that's why the trainer cries like that. So
of course.
It gives you that good background.
It sucks, really, man.
Dude. Yeah, hell yeah. But I mean, movie, it's almost like you just gave the kill signal to the, when you have like attack dogs or training dogs, whatever, police dogs and shit. Right. You have that one word and it goes after.
Right. Yeah.
Same thing with the Rancors. So
now you got Jabba the Hutt. He's got his cruiser out there in the desert, and they go to the Sarlacc.
So out there you got Boba Fett.
Yeah, Boba Fett's out there.
Boba Fett's out there.
Because you know what it is? I think that's the thing too. Boba Fett's just hanging. I guess what happened after he delivered Han Solo, the Jabba the Hutt was like, "Hey, you want to hang out with me for a while? I got a good party going." And Boba Fett's just like, "Yeah, sure,
why
chill
not?
with you."
Yeah.
Or maybe hired him as a bodyguard, because that's the thing that I was kind of confused about that. But
what was he doing?
So he was
because he got the bounty from.
But so Boba Fett being the bounty hunter.
Yeah.
He would go out and collect. So he was almost like the muscle for Jabba.
Yeah, he was smart as
so
shit,
then
too,
he would turn around and, I need Han Solo, go bring him back to me because he owes me money,
Right.
And
and then if you looked at half the people that were there in Jabba's palace and hanging out, all those crazy people, they were the bounty hunters.
Yeah.
They were the ones, he had an army of hunters.
So is his thing like, hey, come hang out with me and party with me until shit happens?
Yeah, no. Yeah, almost. Yeah, that, like I said, he was just a muscle. He like, yo, listen, this guy owes me whatever, go and get my shit.
Yeah, because he delivered Han Solo. And so
it took him a while.
So Boba Fett was just there.
He followed him, man.
He just stayed and Yeah.
So they go out on the cruiser to the Sarlacc pit, right?
Yep.
So you got that whole crew there, right?
Yep.
So like, what is the what do you call it? The
plan?
No. So eventually, sorry, I got a little. So Leia actually is the one who kills Jabba the Hutt. She
with the chain.
Right, with the chain. Right, she chokes him out. Right.
That was
behind him, and she throws that chain right over.
Like a self-liberation moment, right?
Yeah, definitely, bro.
She didn't rush it. She waited for the right moment.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep. So everything was going.
When everything
waited for the signal, because that's what Luke says. Wait for my signal. You know what I mean? And then that's when he turned around and, like you said, he gets to the plank.
Right.
He turned around and he drops. When he's up in the air, you like R2 like, because R2 had the lightsaber, shoots it up into the air, does his little boom, bounces off of the thing. He like cuts the it's like boom, 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 boom. Starts shooting. When they start shooting him, then that's when when what's his name, Lando Calrissian.
Right.
And he turned around and now he's shooting back and he's helping.
Fell into that,
and Han started to fall in and
almost fell.
Chewie like pulling him back up and shit. Just pull me up, you stupid furball. Yeah, doing that shit. Yeah, that was cool. Who was it that aimed the guns to was that Luke? As he was coming around and whatnot, he took the guns and he aimed them at
he turned the gun, so did Leia.
Right,
Leia took the guns to the deck.
And it blew that shit up. And then by that time, that's who came and picked them up. Oh no, they jumped into the other
they got out of there.
The other glider thing. Yeah, that was the speeder. I'm sorry, into the speeder.
They were out.
Listen, that was an exciting scene for that one.
Yeah.
So when that movie came out,
like that,
that was in the first.
Weaving through the trees at breakneck speed.
Yes, well, that was later on. There was
an famous audiobook, and that was the. It's funny because like the audiobook they used to say they're weaving through the trees at breakneck speed. It was this audiobook.
I haven't heard that.
Have you ever heard of what the hell is it? There's a rapper. He was like an underground rapper. What's his name? Oh my god!
Yeah, I knew that guy.
No,
still all the time.
Dr. Doom or something like that.
No.
I
got no idea.
But yeah. So anyway,
now they got for
Luke had the lightsaber hidden in R2.
Right.
So shoots the lightsaber out. He gets out there.
Yeah.
Takes care of it. That's so you got that scene. Leia is chokes out
Jabba the Hutt.
Jabba the Hutt is dead. She kills Jabba the Hutt. So then Boba Fett, man, what a for such a great warrior, such a lame death. He just like tumbles in and goes into the Sarlacc pit.
Yep.
Which of course he doesn't die, but we assume at that point.
No,
he saw the movie.
No, he didn't.
Well, if you watch that series, he got out. But we assume he died.
Oh, that's right.
He got trained by the Sand
people.
Who was the other one? Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right. Because that's right. It came up in the Mandalorian.
You know how to use that stick that they use?
I totally forgot about that. Even watching the movie, bro. Again, I forgot about that.
For the most part, people see in this movie just assume he was dead. They kind of they kind of brought him back.
Well, he's
that story.
Bye.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's gone. So they get out. He's out. Like I said, it was smart that Luke had the lightsaber hidden in R2.
Yeah.
Got that out and he took care of business.
He's doing acrobats.
Yeah, well, because again, this is his confidence.
Right.
Because now he's actually using the Force. Now he's a Jedi.
Yeah,
he's actually able to fight back and do all that stuff. He was 100% with that shit, bro.
Oh,
he was on point.
Totally.
Well, I'm lying. To me, he was more like at a 85, 90% because he still wasn't using the Force the way that he could have.
Well, he don't need to.
Well, yeah. So now they get up in the plane and into the plane. He gets into his X-Wing fighter. Everybody else got into the Millennium Falcon.
Right.
And then that's when he went to go see Yoda.
Right. And Yoda dies in that.
Right. Yeah. And then
it was good though.
Yeah. It was good because, Luke went to go see him and then talking to Yoda and Yoda telling him, the Force is strong with you. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And he says to him?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So the next scene, you got the Rebel briefing and you have the reveal of Death Star 2 under construction.
Yes.
So this is a pivotal scene. And this is also the first scene that you actually see Emperor Palpatine in person. Because you only saw him through like a screen or whatever.
Right. Like the little hologram shit.
Yeah, the hologram.
I never thought of that. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's the first time you actually see him on screen is when his ship is landing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like everybody's lined up.
Yeah.
He's got that thing there.
Crew is laid up.
Like everybody's just lined up on the hangar.
Yeah.
Because,
even the janitors were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, man.
Even the droids were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Emperor Lightning Hands is going to get you.
Yeah. Don't touch him. Don't shake his hand. He's electric. Woogie. Yeah. Yep. And then what's his name? Vader. When Vader comes down. So when Vader comes to greet him, Vader takes a knee.
Yeah.
That to me bugged me out.
That was the first scene you were like, oh, so there is someone who is way more powerful.
Yeah.
Well, that's what got him there.
But,
that's what got him there.
It was like, I think for me and everything, from everything I saw before that I'm going to say, yeah, there was a boss, but it was almost like an equal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think that Vader would be taking a knee, you know, and he just knelt to him or whatever.
He may have, Palpatine probably would definitely maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, now we know that he was, you know.
Because he had control over him, right? Didn't he purposely not make the suit comfortable so that he was always uncomfortable? He was in pain when he wore that suit.
You might be right. I'd be lying to you if I knew that part.
He
100%.
didn't want him to be comfortable to the point where, you know, he felt good about himself as far as having his full potential.
Yeah. Oh, you might be right. I've never heard that before.
The what?
That Vader, that Anakin was
the suit when he was made, when he got the suit made.
Yeah.
It was intentionally made.
Oh, yeah, it was there was needles. The Emperor made it. The Emperor purposely made it uncomfortable, so it would keep him angry, to keep the dark side in him.
Really?
And he also made it like not easy to use, to keep him frustrated and angry, also to weaker than the Emperor. And he purposely made it like weak to force, to electric. So
yeah, I didn't know that.
So
So
but that's the thing is, and that's when the Emperor stopped. Right. So the rule of two is, and the whole point of the rule of two with the Sith is so to distill the Sith, like the Sith apprentice has to kill their master. So like you become stronger and stronger each generation, because you have to become more powerful than your master and kill the master. So if the apprentice keeps coming, so every time there's another one, they become stronger, right? So, but he made the apprentice too weak to kill him, so he broke the rule of two.
Right.
So that's how he's no longer really following the Sith order.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of going rogue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, bro.
Yeah.
He wanted to take over everything. You know what I'm saying? So he can't be the Emperor if you got somebody who's
as a Sith master, you're supposed to teach your apprentice everything you know, and then your apprentice is worthy enough to kill you. They will kill you. But
yeah,
he took that out. If you make your apprentice weaker than you know, so
yeah. Well,
at that point,
he knew what he needed out of him, so he manipulated that.
Yeah,
and kept him at the spot where he needed him, so he knew he could keep him.
Right.
Yeah, but it didn't work when he, saved his son.
Right. Yeah, because he had to. Yeah, but that's later in the movie.
Can't
say that part yet.
So
spoiler alert.
So the next scene, and now Luke leaves for Dagobah. Right. He gets to Dagobah. Yoda's dying.
Yeah.
So
because he's like 1,000 years old now by the time.
I think he's close. He's pushing 900.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah.
I do. I can. That's why I said I want to be a cyborg. Yeah. Whatever. That's another episode.
So and he's just teaching him all he knows with the Force and trying to instill the best in him, right?
Yeah. Yep. Because Luke still needs that. But that's when Luke finds out that the Force is, that death isn't the end. That the Force is always there.
The journey has just begun.
Right. Because that's where Obi-Wan and
it's such a martial arts thing. So when you think that's kind of the way that they think too. Like even though you may get to a certain level,
right?
You're right back at white belt again.
Yeah,
kind of
start over again.
He talks to Obi-Wan as a first go. I think it's the first time he talks to Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. First time he saw that.
And of course, I love how he's like, you lied to me. He's like, well, technically, I told you the truth because he stopped becoming Darth Vader after he became Darth Vader. His former self seems as if, so I was technically telling the truth.
Yeah.
Come on, that is like some shady shit. Like
he had to.
Yeah.
Because he saw what happened to Anakin to become Darth,
and he confirmed that Vader is your father. Vader is Anakin Skywalker, basically.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So then that's where he saw that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I guess it's a moral gray area line.
I don't know.
Moral gray area, would you say?
Well, no, because if I show you the light now,
and you can see everything. A moral gray area?
Think so?
No, I think it's just really more teaching you a lesson, reminding you that just not everything is.
Was Obi-Wan wrong, or you think he should have kept it like secret? Should have like. You think he was wrong for not telling
Luke that Vader was his father?
Yeah, I think he probably should have, but I understand why he didn't, because he didn't want to hurt the kid. He didn't think he was ready for it, I'm sure, at the time. And then when he heard it from the person he needed to hear it from.
Well, yeah.
Part of a person.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't think that, I'm glad he didn't, that he told him how he told him. Because if he would have told him
that time, I think he needed to tell him that way.
Right at that point, right?
Yeah.
Because if he would have think about it, bro. If he would have told him sooner, if he would have turned around and said it sooner, not that so much he would have freaked out. He would have been on a save a whole thing.
Or he could have been like, maybe I should go to the dark side.
No, I don't think so.
I
don't think so.
I don't know. I
think he would stay to the light side. But I think he would, like I said, I think he would have just tried to go and save his father rather than battle him. Yeah, like dad, you know what I mean? And it would change of, he would have become.
Maybe they could have turned him. Maybe they could have turned him.
Maybe. I mean, could have been.
Palpatine could have manipulated him just like he manipulated Anakin.
You know what? Yeah, he almost did too.
Yeah. But he got out of it.
Right, yeah. That I'm just saying, bro. I think that if he would have told him,
it would change up if he got out of it, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
But then he called Leia, and then they turned around and came back and got him.
Yeah. And then, because then after that.
So they're on Endor, right?
Right, because that's when you go to Endor.
And Luke kind of turns himself in or whatever to Vader.
Yo, Dad, guess who came to dinner?
Right.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. And because he knew when he got there, he knew that father was going to be there, that Vader was going to be there. He's coming or whatever.
They both knew they were on the planet already before they even got there.
And this is like, I have to say, I think the scene when they're still on Andor and he's talking to Vader on that platform.
Right.
Anakin's bleeding through at that point.
Yeah.
I really do think he is.
Yeah.
I think when he's talking to him, he's like, it's too late. I can't. Like, that's not Vader. That's not Vader talking.
Yeah, no.
That's Anakin cracking through.
Yeah, definitely.
I think so.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what I mean? He's telling him like, I don't have a choice. Like, I think he's afraid. This is when the cracks are forming, I think.
Right.
I really do think that conversation he has with him beforehand and saying like, I will not fight you or whatever. He's like, and he's like, he's like, they bring up, so he brings him to the Death Star, which is kind of crazy. You're bringing the person who destroyed the first Death Star on this Death Star,
right? Thinking he could turn him,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
He's Jedi now.
So
you have complete your training,
right? Exactly.
Obi-Wan has taught you well,
and Palpatine thought he said that was the whole plan. He goes, I think I can turn him, so that's why they bring him. So
it happened a little late, but fuck it, whatever. It was there.
Yeah.
So it was there. But I mean, we jumped too quick. Not too quick, but now still with all that, because now they're fucking around with the Ewoks.
Yeah, so
you can't leave the Ewoks out, bro. You got to
they're driving those crazy bikes and
well, first of all, they think C-3PO is their god.
Their god, which is awesome. Fucking hilarious. He's like, because he was talking to them. He
knew the language.
Yeah, because he's protocol droid. He speaks a million different languages.
He's like, there's so many different dialects from this one.
Yeah. That was so great. Like, fucking great, bro. Love that shit. Yeah.
Telling the story.
That was so fucking great. Yeah.
That movie was great. So go ahead.
The Ewoks and them fighting the Ewoks.
Right. Yeah. So that's part of the, the shield generator mission.
Right.
Because Ewoks are on the planet Andor.
Right.
They didn't count for those.
That's the planet where, this time the Empire was smarter. Is they got a shield generator to shield the Death Star. The Death Star. But the shield generator is on the planet, so they had to build the Death Star right next to the planet.
Right.
The shield generator, so no one can attack the Death Star while it's being built.
Right.
Because they learned their lesson with the first one.
Yeah.
So it's natural. It's smart on their part. But,
right.
But of course the rebels are gonna figure that shit out. Right. And that's what they did. So they got down there. It's a trap.
Yeah.
That's later on.
Yeah. That's right. That's when we were all there, right? Because that's after they did that.
That's a famous gif
he'll get it.
or a meme. It's a trap.
Yeah.
So anyway, Admiral Akbar.
Right.
So they had that whole mission down there. So I guess like I said, they got down there. They start that mission. The Ewoks are down there.
Right.
And they're kind of like. So are they cute or are they really tactical warriors?
I think they're both.
Yeah, they're a little bit of both. Because
they look like teddy bears.
Right.
They'll kick your ass.
Well, see, here's the whole thing though. Them living there, it seems obvious. Well, I don't want to say obvious, but it seems that they knew how to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Because they had the spears, they had the bolo.
Right. Here's the thing I noticed though that I paid attention to as far as the Emperor was concerned when it comes to them. You notice that nobody counted for them, really.
Right.
Or tapped into them.
Yeah.
Because I found that they were too pure to be really manipulated in that way because they were just in another level as far as the way they lived in their world.
Right.
They were already, you know what I mean? Like it was their heritage, their life.
Right.
There's no way that but he didn't figure for that because he couldn't feel that.
Yeah, he didn't think that they were going to fight back. Because you said they looked like little teddy bears.
Right.
So,
they got nothing.
Yeah, they got nothing on us, whatever.
And guess what?
Yeah, they did. because they used all of their weapons, I guess.
And they used the
trip. They were able to trip the ST-ATs.
Yes,
right.
The ATs, yes. Yeah, so that then they tripped them up. They fell, was making them eat. Like they came off of the trees and they fucking bringing in.
They were hit those Star Wars.
Those are the ATs,
right?
ATs,
and you get the 2 trees hit them on one side.
Yeah. So I mean, they set up booby traps and shit all over the place. You know what I mean? And you're right.
Fucking on boulders.
Right. Yeah, remember that shit.
Can't keep his balance and it breaks his legs.
Yeah, but there you go. That's the whole thing. Estimated.
Right.
They didn't even think of them there because they were basically cohabitating. Find whatever, let them build whatever they're going to build over there, as long as they're not messing around with.
They were like,
they beat the Empire with sticks and rocks.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Stones, my friend.
Yeah, and they definitely broke their bones.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that was funny. Dude, and you can't even lie. Everybody wanted to be
they're way ahead of ourselves, though.
Yeah,
that's right.
What do you mean?
So yeah.
No, I mean it's funny how because when we start talking about something, like we get into the Ewoks and then we start going to the. They did this and they did that, it's good because we know the movie. How many times have you seen this movie?
Bro,
how many times do you think you've seen this movie in your lifetime?
Oh, so many times.
Yeah, I lost count.
Do you know it's actually the first one I've seen?
I know when I saw
it. Jedi?
Yeah, it was the first one I've seen.
And then you went back to watch the other 2.
Yeah.
Because
my friend had it on video and I never saw.
You saw what?
No, I think I saw all of them.
Yeah, I know I saw all of them. I saw all of them from when they came out.
When they first came out. I remember the second one more so in the theater.
Yeah, no, I know I saw all 3 of them in the theater.
I saw both of them in Maryland. I think we spoke about this last.
Yeah, you did. Yep, I saw all 3 of them in the theater when they first came out. So then went from first 18th Avenue movies theater over there.
Yeah, Walker Theater.
Yep. Then I went to then I saw it in Fort Way and Alpine after that.
Fort Way, Alpine, Marlboro.
Yeah, I didn't go see it there.
Bay Parkway. Or is it?
That's what you saw?
Yeah. No, I'm saying that I know that movie theater. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
movie theaters in Brooklyn that I went to.
Oh yeah. No, I that's why I saw the other one. So right around the neighborhood, and every time I went, bro, it was always packed. I never went that it wasn't. Like the lines, it was on the news.
Lines were around the corner. Around the corner.
Yeah.
You waited online and you walked in and bought a ticket, and it was the most exciting thing to do, like especially if it was a movie you wanted to see.
Right. And that was the movie to see. Everybody, because I mean, on the trailers, they're showing the Ewoks, like, oh my God, look at the little creatures. What? They had the speeders.
That's funny.
So then everybody's like on a motorcycle tip. You know what I mean? Everybody wanted to get a nifty.
There are actually people now trying to replicate
those,
and make them work, and they're coming freaking pretty close.
Because now you can make them like the.
It's amazing how sci-fi just comes to life.
Yeah,
somehow, some way.
Yep,
it's figured out.
Well,
eventually, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, like now you have the drones that fly, and it's big ass fans that are blowing down,
right?
And that's what they've put on the speeders. To just the fans and just bigger fan, you know what I mean? That's what it is.
What's next, my friend? I'm sorry.
So no. So we talked about so Luke surrendering himself or whatever. So next, I guess they bring Luke onto the Death Star,
right?
Which again, like that's crazy.
Yeah, dumbest shit ever. But that was their plan because they were trying to. The second part 2 of the plan was to destroy the Death Star.
Yeah.
Again, but this time make sure that it wasn't going to come back.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So that was the idea.
Like it was going to blow
together.
up.
So
right.
So now you got the famous throne room scene.
Right.
So this is where shit is really fucking going down, right? So now the funny thing is, so it starts off with like you can see the Emperor. He's manipulating both Vader and Luke.
Right. Yes.
The shit he's saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like the ultimate manipulator.
Yeah.
Right.
He's horrible person.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah. Because he was trying to pit them against each other.
Yeah. He was using it for his own.
Right. Because he knew that. So I think there he could sense that Luke was stronger than Vader.
Right.
He wants Vader to defeat. He wants Luke to defeat Vader so he can take Vader on as his apprentice.
Right.
And I guess at that point he would have to be a real apprentice because there's nothing, like I mentioned before, how he purposely made Vader's suit weak against him. So so you can't have an apprentice that can't beat you.
Right.
So maybe he was thinking, all right, well, maybe I'll have an apprentice that'll beat me, which I don't. But then again, well, I'm getting far ahead. Anyway, with
Right,
I was like, well, technically he cloned himself, and but that's
Yeah.
why the
Right.
sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
We won't go there yet. Well,
Yeah,
we're way ahead of
That's
ourselves.
way, a couple episodes out.
Yeah. So, and this is also where like Luke actually does at one point he does snap a little bit. Like he almost
questioned it.
Yeah.
He almost questioned himself, but at the same time, he saw and he knew because he's looking at Vader. He's listening to what this dude is saying, and he's like, "Yeah, bro, like this isn't the way to be."
I don't think he was cracking. I think he was more ready to like, let's just like, I'm going to try to take out the Emperor. I'm going to take him out right now.
Mm-hmm.
He knows he can feel it, but he's trying to do it where he can get away with it without him. But he knows it's got to be quick and fast. He lets him get it.
Okay.
Him and he gets it, and then all you see the two freaking lightsabers come in front of him, and he's
right in front of him, and that's like so symbolic of how he's manipulating.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about that.
Right,
because
because he kept looking, and he was like, trying
to get close. You're right. Let it out. Then I was bugging out that
what a douche, man.
Yeah, for real. But you see, he had already
douche in the galaxy.
Hell yeah, bro. But he had Vader. I thought that by that point, like even still, if I see that movie, I'm like you, that it's where I think Anakin was coming out, bleeding out, like you said, because he let Luke get that close. You know what I'm saying? He was right there, like that. Like he almost got him. He almost got him. If Luke would turn around and switched up, and instead of doing this, but like, you know what I mean, just hit it below, Vader would have missed. You know what I mean? And Palpatine would have been done. It'd have been over. But he was still like, don't do this.
Well, Vader blocked him from getting the Emperor, right? Because that's what I'm saying. Ahead, right.
That's what I'm saying. So when Luke went like this, Luke picked up the hand, came down, and then Vader blocked it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It
was awesome.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what Luke.
Let's get it on.
Vader was letting Luke, he was Anakin, like, yo, that's my son. I don't want to have to kill him. I don't want to have to fight.
Oh, you think he was?
Yeah, he was like.
He was going easy on him.
Right, yeah. He was just being a little bit okay. Because think about it, bro. Everybody else, he's doing this to from a fucking distance.
Yeah, you're right.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was like, he let him get close. He was letting, seeing where he was because he was letting Palpatine talk shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, come to this side. And he's like, Luke, this and this. And you could feel the power, and Obi-Wan had trained you well, and like, all that kind of stuff. And, I think he was being super easy on Luke. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Manipulative.
But
I think that's what it is.
No, Vader, not Palpatine. Vader was just being easy. He was just kind of sitting back in the cut and kind of like watching, because even everything that was going
remember
on.
when he threw his lightsaber at him? Because he said, I will not fight you. And he was standing on top of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Luke.
And he said, I will not fight you.
Yeah.
Father. Or I think he called him father at that point.
Yeah.
And he said, you are unwise to lower your...
Yeah,
and he just took his lightsaber.
Yeah.
And he threw it, and it hit the thing, boom, and knocked it down, and he came down with it.
Right. But he still wasn't trying to kill him.
But still, they were still going to town, bro.
Oh, yeah. No. I'm saying, but I'm just saying, like...
But it wasn't as good as...
Right.
Obi-Wan and...
Right. And then
when he was young, like when we were at that level.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the other thing, too, is, like that, like this... So Palpatine finally gets him, right? So Palpatine's finally electrocuting him, and he goes, I refuse to, turn to the dark side.
Mm-hmm. Right. He put out two hands. Like,
I have to say, they did such a good job the way they directed that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though Vader's a mask, he's got a plain face, you can't see expressions in his face.
So they made it go around.
You can still see the way they cut the camera back and forth.
Yeah.
You could feel his expression, even though he's got a mask on and there's no facial expression.
Right.
You could see that he's distraught, that his son's getting...
Right. Yeah.
That he's
crazy.
He's dying. Yeah. Yeah.
But when he picks him up, he absorbs all that electric.
Right.
He does that.
Yeah.
That's what kills him.
him, because Palpatine purposely made his armor weak to electric shock.
Yep.
Because that was his, he made it purposely.
He threw him down that hole.
To that shaft, bro. It was a wrap.
Said, you're out, pal.
Yeah. That's.
I wonder why he explodes when he hits the ground, though. That's always part.
No.
You just see
no, he hit one of the because they were up in the it was the I want to say arc reactor.
Iron Man.
Yeah. No, he hit the. I'm gonna say it was the reactor, because that's what was that's what the power was. For the Death Star. So he didn't hit bottom. He just fell into the power core.
Oh, so the power just.
Yeah. Right, and because he was still, because now he's falling and he's upset or whatever, he's still shooting out electricity from his hands. that, like he hit that, like, like a bug, like a fucking moth to a thing.
It was like a bug zapper.
Yeah, like a bug zapper.
That was seriously just having.
Right.
That's funny if someone cut that together as a clip.
Yeah.
That would actually be pretty good.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
but that's what
now
it was.
you got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? Now you got to find the shit for it. But that's what happened. So he didn't splat on anything. He just,
got it.
He hit the bottom of that.
So and that is the scene where Anakin finally breaks through. He breaks through, and he saves his son. But unfortunately,
it was too late.
I should not leave.
Dying.
Yeah.
And
that's right. Yeah.
While that's happening,
I need to save you.
At that same moment, the Millennium Falcon is now. Remember, that's the famous scene where they're fucking flying through the Death Star, being chased by the TIE fighters. They're fucking flying fast as fuck, literally through the fucking Death Star.
So that's
pretty badass, by the way.
Because who was flying? You remember?
It was Lando.
Lando was flying that bitch.
Flying that bitch.
Yeah,
that's right. What's his name?
Han Solo still was still on the planet.
Yeah, that's right.
He was doing all that shit.
Huh?
He was doing all of that.
Yeah, so Han Solo was with Leia and everybody else on the planet.
And that's where she said, that's where I remember, not to cut you off, but when the hot wire in the door to try to open it, and he says, I love you. And she says,
oh, that's right. Yeah, she switched it on him.
She switched it.
Yeah. But that was before.
Right.
That was earlier.
I realized when they made the kill shot, and you know how the fucking electric blows up at the bottom, was that the same point when they made the kill shot for the reactor?
Maybe.
I think so. Actually, that wasn't a zap. That was the reactor getting shot at the same time that Palpatine falls on it.
That makes sense because
that would be cool.
Yeah.
If you look.
So what happens to him?
His body fall down.
What happens to him?
So that's what Tom is saying. So when Vader picked up Palpatine and he
threw him down,
Shaq,
when
we looked down, when we looked down like we were there and shit.
Yeah.
When
they show him
falling down,
right?
He falls down and he's like,
right.
It was probably at the same. No, it wasn't the same time.
No.
Tom was saying that it was at the same time that Palpatine falls.
While they made the kill shot for the reactor.
The Millennium Falcon coming in and blowing up.
No, because it blew up like right after.
Right, exactly. So and they were already off the.
You're right.
Once it blew up, there's no way he could have got off that freaking.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Right. Yeah, like there was no place for him to go. But then, think about.
Yeah.
If we're gonna turn around and spoiler alert, if we fast forward or fast rewind.
Yeah.
And Leia in the other episode 2 or 3, when the what you call it that she was in, they blew up the bridge and she flew out into space and she used the Force to bring her back.
That was in the other movies, though.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But the point is that if she knew how to do that, she learned, and she wasn't like a full Jedi kind of shit.
She didn't get blown up.
She had the Force. Listen to what I'm saying, bro. So then if Palpatine, when he fell down and went down there, he didn't quite die. You know what I'm saying? That he was still alive. And then that he was able to actually be out in space and, without whatever. I said, man, that's me going like a little bit on that extra,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's right. So the Death Star, it wasn't a kill. So I'm ahead.
Right.
So anyway,
right.
So then you got Luke, he's carrying him out, and that's the famous scene,
Right.
They finally, the first time you ever see Vader unmasked ever.
Right, yeah.
And he's like, he's like, take off my helmet so I can see you with my own eyes.
Yeah, right.
And that scene, that very famous scene, like you said, we already have, where he's like, he's like, you'll die. He's like, there's nothing that can stop this now.
Yeah.
And then, he goes, I'm trying to save you, and then he goes, you already have.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I shall not leave you here to die.
Right.
Or something to that effect.
Yeah.
You already have.
It's like Shakespeareing the way he spoke.
Yeah. He goes,
right.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden he's proper.
Yeah.
But he's saying like, he already saved him. That he saved him from.
Yeah.
The dark.
Right. Because the mask
pulled him out of darkness.
Because the mask made him sound like
Yeah.
That.
Well, he needed that too to survive too, because he needed all that.
Right.
That
so then when the mask is off, right?
Yeah,
so when the mask is off, now it's like there's nothing,
exactly,
restricting his sound, his tone, or whatever.
Right.
So but yeah, and it's crazy because it almost looked like. So I mean, think about it. What Anakin looked like when we see later on, when he looked like when he went into the Vader suit.
Right.
Yeah.
That now when he takes it off in Return of the Jedi, he's like bloated and his skin's all funky and like. Just
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when they took the mask off of Vader, He just looked like he was he looked like he was deteriorating. Like he looked like
Palpatine.
Palpatine.
Well, that's because the Sith, when you're the dark side, deteriorates you.
Yeah.
Actually, like it deteriorates your body. That's why if you watch any of the Star Wars, like the
so they
video
rely
games,
more
like
on
Old
the actual
Republic,
power,
like all those
versus
Sith guys, they all have like black under their eyes,
Right. Yeah.
like Uncle Fester eyes, you know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
And just like their skin's all like it's from the dark side.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So physically, technically, they wouldn't really be that strong as they would be more on the Force of being able to wield the Force the way they want to. You know, like they do. Things.
Right. Yeah. It's like, you know,
where like someone like Obi-Wan or somebody who, you know, who's trained, or like Luke.
Yeah.
Technically, they would have the advantage physically, but probably they wouldn't have the other because he was more experienced and he knows a lot more shit when it comes to the Force. But yeah, so it's almost kind of even though, in a sense, you would think.
Yeah, listen, I wish it would have been cool if just, I mean, almost like on a what if to see if Darth Vader would have survived.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Just a quick little short.
They had that I've seen that scenario. I've seen that online on the things we follow on our Instagram, where they show him where he's wearing this like crazy like uniform.
Yeah.
His head is a little deformed.
Okay.
But he goes around like he's like some kind of warrior now, or he's trying to correct things, fix stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, is that wrong, or is it?
I don't know. There's a lot of people who've done rewrite stories, so there's a lot of fanfic.
That would be interesting to see an alternate universe.
But I saw one where like basically like Luke has to put him into hiding right away because like the rebels want him like in prison because he's responsible for billions of people's deaths.
Yeah, literally.
Like, you know what I mean? So,
And how do you forgive somebody for that?
Right.
Oh well, now he's all better now.
Yeah, no, sorry, kid. No, he gotta go. Gotta go.
Work that way.
Yeah.
So the Death Star gets the Death Star gets destroyed, right? So like they take that kill shot out.
He makes it to the planet.
So you know the Empire falls basically.
Right.
You see all these ships and stuff,
right,
and stuff, and you know they do the famous song at the end, dude.
Yeah.
And they show all the planets, everybody's celebrating,
fireworks.
Yeah.
And that's when Luke tells Leia that he's her brother.
Yeah.
Right.
And you see the Force ghosts of Obi-Wan, Yoda,
and Anakin.
And which they changed. Because it originally showed, what's the actor's name?
The original actor who you saw on the last movie, right?
Oh, I don't know which character
played Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit,
but they, but then they switched it to
Anakin,
to Hayden Christensen,
right?
Because he played the part,
which makes sense with continuity, I think, because that was last light side. I know that's a big debate. By the way, so anyone watching this, what do you think? Do you think they should have left it with the original actor, or they should have had it with the new actor?
I know they want to get the originality of it and try to get as close to what the person's supposed to look like.
Yeah,
but if he's already at that point, he probably looks that way.
Yeah,
you know what I thought was cool? What someone did for continuity, someone used CGI to put Hayden Christensen in the scene where he's like, "You already have." It looked good.
Yeah.
Like, for continuity purposes,
I get it.
I changed it,
but I'm gonna say where no,
but
no. But why would you say but no? Because I'll tell you mine.
I would say for them to change it. I know people would be like, "Oh, you can't because it's the OG."
No, bro.
Why?
Because they have Yoda old just before he died.
Right.
You had Obi-Wan old just before he died. But I'm saying, but when the Force at the end of Return of the Jedi, that they all came back in, their spirit.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that they didn't have them young; they left them old.
Oh, they left them the way they looked when they passed
just before they passed.
So I think that's the way it should be.
Right. That's the only reason why I'm saying leave Anakin old because that's what he looked like just before he died.
Right.
That's why I would
because he aged and he did get old. Because if Obi-Wan aged and he was old. Then honestly,
well, you know what's
now Anakin was a few years. Well, Anakin was younger than him when he found.
The interesting thing,
right?
Technically, he'd still be.
Well, he's at the perfect age now. He's in his mid-40s. Hayden Christensen. That's how old Vader is supposed to be. But the actor who played him was like in his 60s.
Right. But again, because like you were just saying before, here it is that the dark side of the Force aged them or aged. So that then he would. That's why I think no.
I agree with you. I
think it should leave.
I think it should be left alone.
Yeah.
And then he just you when you're watching the movies before, this is how he looked when he did this.
Right.
This and that.
It's like
when after time he burned. First of all, he caught on fire. He lost his fucking limbs.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Then this guy put him together in this freaking
I don't know.
robot
I
suit.
still, for
Pain ages you.
Yeah.
Hate ages you.
Right.
So, but I would still,
It ages you.
continuity purposes, put Hayden Christensen there, just make him look aged.
I
For continuity purposes,
say then, but no, then make him look like what he looked like just before Palpatine picked him up. Like after he fought Obi-Wan, he was burnt up, his eyes were red, make him look more that then, you know what I'm saying? If that's, if you really want to switch up and bring it up, I still like the idea of him looking the other old. But so how much more do we have left of the end? I think that was the end of it because we're at
the end anyway.
Yeah.
We are at the end of the podcast, which is cool.
So like that's why it's a good movie. I think it's Return of the Jedi. I think out of the original trilogy is the best one in my opinion. Some people might debate me about New Hope or maybe Empire. People think Empire is the better one. I like Return of the Jedi. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's mine too.
But yeah, so now we're gonna go into the prequels.
Right.
So stay tuned.
Episode 1.
We're gonna start with episode 1, Phantom Menace. Which I mean, it has its pluses and positives and negatives. I know people are gonna be like, "Well, what about Jar Jar Binks?" But it's I think it's a world builder. It's a world. First of all, the movie's a world builder, so like we gotta look at it from the lens of
whatever.
It's a world builder, so we'll get into it. But I love the prequels. I really love the prequels.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be happy.
I wasn't too crazy about them, to be honest. But
I like the first 2.
I love them.
I like the last one.
Revenge of the Sith.
That was
that
my
is the
favorite
best one. Revenge of the Sith is the best one.
It was dark.
Before we get ahead of ourselves, because we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. But my personal opinion is episode 3 is the prequel, and episode 1 and 2 are prequels to the prequel.
Right.
They have to exist in order to tell those 3.
Exactly.
Episode 3 is the real movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, but that's my opinion.
Now you know why things happen the way they happen.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, I'm digging it. It's all good.
Obi-Wan said no, you said yeah, you were wrong.
Now I'm telling you what's on. Yeah, exactly.
That was it. I got the higher ground. Don't do it with me.
So with that, thank everybody for listening, watching, being with us. So like, subscribe, comment, all that other good stuff.
Instagram, Facebook,
YouTube. Yep. Find us on everything. But thank you for listening. Love, peace, and hair grease.
Live long and prosper.
And may the force be with you.
Da-na-na-na-na.